You may have noticed recently that most of the YouTube advice out there just feels like noise. It's hustle bros telling you how to game the algorithm, people flashing wild results that just don't feel real. And you're sat there thinking, is YouTube actually going to work for me in my business? I've got about 1,000 subscribers, which is tiny, but the people that watch my videos actually reach out to work with me because I focused on one thing that most YouTube advice just completely ignores. So today I want to break down exactly what this is and how to build it into your videos so that you're not just adding to the noise, but you're actually attracting people who genuinely want to work with you. So here's a big problem right now with most YouTube advice. It's completely focused on attention and not building connection. So it starts with the tactics, better hooks, better thumbnails and posting schedules, and that stuff will get people to click your videos, but it's not what actually gets you clients. Because none of that stuff matters if somebody watches your video and doesn't trust you enough to actually reach out. You're focusing on getting attention before you've figured out how to build trust, and attention without trust is just noise. When I first started on YouTube, I spent a long time studying other channels in my niche, and I tried to copy what they were doing. I ended up copying their style, even their energy and their way of delivering information, and my videos ended up just being a bad copy of other people's content. I remember watching the videos back and just thinking to myself, this just doesn't sound like me. It felt forced. It felt like I was performing rather than actually talking to the real person watching on the other side. So I completely stopped and I decided to make content that only aligns with what I actually believe. I started making videos about why I'm building a YouTube channel in the first place, how I'm building a business through YouTube that gives me freedom to work from anywhere I want with people all around the world. I'm not trying to become a billionaire, I'm just making enough money to live a good life and support a family. So I'm against the hustle culture and scaling a massive company at the expense of freedom. And I just spoke honestly about that, and that first video booked 5 sales calls and 2 people became clients. Not because the video was tactically any better than anything else I'd made, but because people watched it and they resonated with it. They shared the same values as me. So my channel is tiny compared to lots of my competitors, and I don't claim to make millions or have the secret formula to guarantee success, but people still watch my videos and become clients. And every time somebody new gets in touch, I always ask them what made them reach out. And they usually say something like they just resonated with my approach and the way I deliver information. So how do you actually build trust in your videos? Well, there are 4 things that you need to do. Number 1, align with your values. So it can be easy to see the messages that other people are putting out there and fall into the trap of trying to sound like them and becoming someone that you're not. Saying things that you think people want to hear rather than what you actually believe. But if you say what you really believe, then you're going to start attracting people who share that belief. Those are the kind of people that you want to work with. When I started speaking honestly in my videos and sharing not only the wins but the failures, then that's when people started reaching out. Okay, so this next step is really important. Show the journey, not just the highlight reel. Everybody claims to have it all worked out, to have this golden formula that's foolproof. But in reality, nobody has it figured out. We're all just doing our best to make it work. We're making mistakes along the way all the time, and I think that's really important to talk about. And a lot of the time, you can learn more from the mistakes than you can from the wins. So it's important to share everything because every experience that you go through and come out the other side, if you can share that, it's going to help other people. And people will respect that. Think about the film Rocky. If Rocky just did a load of training and then knocked out Apollo Creed in the first round, it would be a very interesting film. But we like to support the underdog. We like to see them get knocked down and keep getting back up. There are loads of people on YouTube just showing the wins, showing how they've worked it all out and how they can guarantee results. But they forget to show how they actually got there, what the messy process actually looked like. So showing vulnerability builds trust faster than showing flawless results, because we're all human and nobody's perfect, and people can tell when you're pretending to be. Now, you can be vulnerable, show your values, and still lose people if you get this next point wrong. Speak to the real person. When people are making YouTube videos, they forget that there are real people on the other side watching. Honestly, it wasn't really until people started booking calls with me and I spoke to real people that I truly understood this. I was like, holy shit, there's actually real people watching these videos. Because when you're just looking at numbers on a screen, 100 views, 500 views, 1,000 views, you can start to think of people as just numbers. But it's so important to remember that there's a real person behind every view. Somebody with goals, fears, and uncertainty. So don't try to speak to the masses. Just speak to one person at a time. Imagine you're just sat across the table having a conversation over coffee. And this has really been a big mind shift change for me recently. I'm trying to remember that in every single video that I make. And hopefully this setting does just feel like, right, we're having a coffee. I'm telling you about what's working and what's not working. And remember, speak how real people speak. So if your viewer's problem is that their phone isn't ringing because they're wasting money on ads, don't say, are you suffering from insufficient lead generation from paid acquisition channels? Use the language that people actually use when they're frustrated. When somebody's watching your YouTube videos and they feel like you're speaking directly to them, this will build trust much quicker, and this is what will lead to them eventually reaching out to want to work with you. Number 4, prove it through stories, not claims. Now, this is a big one that a lot of people miss. So if you go onto YouTube right now and look at channels in your space, you'll notice the same thing over and over again. It'll be big results. So we generated 100K for our clients. We 10x their revenue. There's big numbers on screen with little context. And if you're anything like me, you watch these videos and you just think, I don't believe you. Because anybody can claim results. There's no way to verify a number on a screen. But stories are different. When you walk through a real situation, you talk through, here's where the client was, here's what we did for them, and here's what actually happened. People will follow along with that journey and they can see how you got those results. So I recently made a video where I talk about the results that we got for one of our clients, Still Spirit. Their first video sat on about 200 views for 6 months and nothing was happening. And I spoke about how we repositioned their content, and then that first video broke through and got 40,000 views, and now their channel's been discovered. That first video has now got 160,000 views and they get sales from every video. So in that video where I talk about those results, I didn't just say, here's the big numbers. I walk through what actually happened so that you can picture it. You could feel the client's pain of, my channel's just not working, to then having that big breakthrough with their first video that took off. So weave these stories into your videos. Use them to illustrate your points as you go. But the best proof doesn't really feel like proof at all. It just feels like you're sharing what actually happened and what can be learned from it. Now, I know what you might be thinking. My channel's still too small. Nobody's going to trust me with 50 subscribers or 100 subscribers. Well, I felt this way for a while as well. But the thing is, if you already have a business and you have an offer that's got results for yourself or for other people, then you have valuable information that other people will want to know. What makes it valuable is that it's being told through your lens. So you've actually gone through the process and come out the other side. And if you're still early in your business journey, then that's fine too. Document what you're going through, share what you're learning, talk about your mistakes, and just be honest about where you are. People will appreciate the honesty and they'll get lots of value from it, even if you're only a few months ahead of other people. So just remember, there are hundreds of people in every niche teaching the same tactics, but you're the only person with your specific experiences, with your values and your way of explaining things. So if you're a business owner and you want to use YouTube to grow your business, then trust is the foundation. Once you get that right, everything else just becomes so much easier. And if you want one-on-one help with this, building a channel that actually brings in clients to your business, then get in touch. There's a link in the description. So thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.